guys, Al's a mage here, and bear with me with this background. We'll see if it gets better by the time that I go back to school. And that's in like a month. How many vlogs am I going to do in a month? Oh god, what's happening here? Okay, now that I fixed that. Hey guys! Okay, so, this time in the vlog, we're talking about experiences, like buying my first car. Exciting. Oh, excuse me, that was not supposed to happen. But yeah, I just bought a car yesterday, after 2 days of looking. It was more than 2 days of looking. It was a process. But here's a picture, and here's a picture, and here's a picture of my car. Her name is Ashley, because back on campus, I rent Zipcar occasionally, and there was a Zipcar named Ashley. That was a Honda Civic. And yeah, so I named my Honda Civic Ashley. They're different colors though, which is upsetting, but shogunai. Anyways, so how I went about buying a car is that I first evaluated if I actually needed it, because I've been wanting to buy one since I was 17. Lo and behold, I turned 21 in less than a month. Oh fuck, I turned 21 in less than a month. And so I'm going to my senior year of university, and I was like, okay, what would I be doing with this car? What would I be able to do with this car that I wouldn't be able to do with Zipcar? Like, let's factor this out here. And it's like, okay, if a car payment and gas payment are part of my monthly budget, then I will want to use it more. Like, you know, actually going and buying groceries and healthy food more often, versus when I rent Zipcar, then it's like, oh, but that's gonna be like $15. Do I really want to spend that much? And it'll encourage me to go out and like actually buy groceries more often. It'll also make my life a lot easier of saving time of walking to the grocery store. Because the grocery store is un momento and we will calculate. I will be back. It is approximately a mile. Granted, that's generally equal to about a 10-minute walk for me? No, 15-minute walk. That sounds a bit better. Yeah, we're gonna go with a 15-minute walk. Takes about 15 minutes to walk there, and that time increases when I'm holding heavy groceries. And then I'm also only limited by how much I can carry at that point of time. Or I spend the money on the Zipcar, and then there's also the hassle of having to return the car at a certain time instead of just parking behind my apartment and taking everything inside. And then I'll also be able to go to a grocery store that actually has better quality of ingredients and groceries and fresh produce, so I'll be able to cook more fresh items, and my food won't go bad within 2 days after buying it, which is currently what happens with the grocery store I go to. So aside from those things that would have been reasons previously that I didn't value high enough to justify the cost of a car, I also looked at it that this is my last year. I'll be graduating next summer. That means I'm going to have to do job interviews. What if I get a call, go for the first call interview, at the end of it they're like, oh yeah, we're really excited to like see you in person, talk once more. What times are you available? I can't just like open up my phone and be like, hold on a second, I need to check the Zipcar calendar. Because they're probably going to suggest times, and Zipcar, depending on the time, can go really fast and be booked or not. And then there's also how long it takes, because if this is Boston that I'm doing an interview in, that's 2 to 3 hours that I'm paying for just to commute there, plus another hour for the interview, maybe more if I stay around and talk or do an office tour, building tour, lab tour, whatever type of tour you can imagine that I would be doing for a job. It's gonna get expensive doing it that way. And then if I go on these multiple times a month, and then I'm always trying to make sure that I don't have to cancel because Zipcar is not available. It'll make it easier to do things like that, which is actually really important. And also that buying it now, make sure that I don't spend even more on it, because right now, of course, I am limited by my budget as a college student. Which means that I couldn't have a super expensive car. But when I graduate with my master's, I'm going to bioinformatics, I'll be looking at 80 to 100k a year. I could buy a nice car and have a decently high car payment, and I could afford it. Would I want to do that? It would be tempting. It would absolutely be tempting. But by doing it now, I've kind of made that commitment of, oh, I'll keep like the lesser car payment and not go insane with this. I'll be able to pay it off faster, things like that. So that's another thing that I took into consideration, along with the fact that next summer I'll be getting my master's, like during the actual summer months. So after May, after I graduate my bachelor's, finishing up my master's until like end of June, sometime July. And to do so, it's either I rent like sublet rooms on campus, which can get expensive, and then I'm also abiding by someone else's rules. I can't move all my stuff there. It would just be inconvenient. Or I commute from New Hampshire down to my campus and just spend a lot of time on the interstate. But I don't have to go down there every day. Pretty sure. Because at that point, I'd just be writing my thesis paper. So I don't even need to be down there all the time. And therefore, the car, how much I'd be paying for the car over the summer is less than I'd be paying in rent and utilities there. Because my mom's great and doesn't charge me rent yet. Just after you consider all your reasons for buying a car and confirm that they are valid, not just, ooh, shiny car, then is the process of looking for a car. Generally, if you were a college student like me, unless your parents are really nice and buying you a nice or giving you a nice amount of money to buy a new car, you're going to probably be looking at under 15 or under 10,000. That means a used car. Personally, how I started this out is I looked at all the reasons I needed it, and my mom was like, oh, how about you go through our bank and see if you can get a loan for them, because it's a really nice bank. Not nice of like rich, but nice as in considerate to customers. And so I did, and this was at like 9 p.m. at night one night, and I got approved for $15,000. I was like, holy fuck, how did that happen? What? And then I was like, oh, wow, okay. And just because you get approved doesn't make it a commitment. That would have expired in August, and I would not have been charged a penny. So, just because you're looking to see how much you can get approved for doesn't mean you have to buy something. Also, it does hit your credit score. So don't do this multiple times. If it's through the same bank, and you try multiple times of like getting your finances in order, and then trying again because it's the same type of loan for the same type of bank, it won't affect your credit. Like, it won't drop your credit down. At least that's what my bank told me. Then I started looking at used cars around me. I looked at cars that were generally considered cheap, like less expensive, like Kia and Hyundai. Unfortunately, neither of them had that many used cars, especially in my price range. And then I went and started looking at like Honda because they're a really safe car. They hold up for a very long time. And just started browsing used car websites. I stayed through dealership websites instead of using apps or third-party sources like Car Gurus, which is a valid option, but I found that a lot of their information wasn't either up to date or they didn't update frequently to show new options. It was a lot of older options. Sometimes those options had already gone and they didn't update. So I decided to just stick with the dealership websites. Always look at the dealership website before you go into the dealership, because they will post a price on the car that is the original price that they're selling it for the first day that it comes in, and they will never change that price on the car itself, like on the window where it's put at. All the price changes are posted on the website. So if you don't go in there informed of what the actual price of the car is on the website, they will try to sell it to you at that original price because they can. You don't know any better. They're not going to tell you anything different. So, if you're like you're dead set on going to Nissan and buying an Altima, and you're just going to check what they have there. Like, you're going to walk in and be like, hey man, what Nissan Altimas do you have that are in this price range? Don't. Check online first. Look there first. Figure out the pricing. Also, another thing that you can look at when you're buying cars is ask information about it. Ask what the previous owners were, how many of them were. You can find this information on Carfax, which is really useful because it'll tell you, well, how many accidents were reported on it. It'll also tell you if the car was previously leased. Especially if it's within the past 3 years, buying a pre-leased car is really, really nice because the way that leases work, like leasing a car, there's a lot of jumps and loopholes and conditions that you have to follow, and if you don't follow those things, you get charged a hefty amount when you return the car when your lease is up. So, people generally take really good care of those cars so they don't have to pay that. They're just paying their monthly payment that they agreed to. So, my car, for example, was previously leased, which means that it is in really nice condition. It also has incredibly low mileage. So that's another thing to look at. And aside from all of that, make sure it's a car that you like and that you're comfortable driving in. Because, yes, you could theoretically go and trade it back in, but that's only possible or feasible if your lease or the loan is for 5 years or less. Because if it's for more than 5 years, you're not paying off enough of the car compared to what its degradation value is. So, that's another thing to look at, is how long you're looking to have this car. The less amount of time you're looking to have it, the shittier of a car you should buy. And it's also important to check warranties, how long they're lasting for, if there's any manufacturer warranty still on it, etc., etc., etc. Then you test drive it, and you see if you just like the feel of the car. Always take it on the interstate. Make sure you take a car on the fucking interstate if you're looking at buying it. Because there was a nice 2017 Elantra that I was looking at. I was like, whoa, 2017. 41,000 miles, because it was previously being used like by Enterprise car rental place. So that's why they had so many miles on it. It's like, oh wow, it's only $11,000. That's fucking cheap. Granted, yes, it has a lot of mileage. And so I was driving, and it made a weird noise when I started driving. I'm like, huh. The car dealership person was like, oh no, cars just do that after they've been sitting there for a while, not being used. So it's like, wow, no one else is test driving this ridiculously cheap Elantra is what you're saying? And then we started like getting onto the interstate, and it started making a lot of noise in the engine, and the steering wheel was trying to pull me to the right, and it was just a mess. It was like, nope, not happening. This is a bad idea that I'm not going to get myself into. So, yeah, always take it on the interstate. There's a lot of problems that you wouldn't see driving it at the lower speeds of city as you would see on, like, a highway or an interstate. So, always do that. Always test drive a car. Even if it's a brand new car, test drive it. There's always those few times that a car isn't as up to, like, date and goodness and checked well as it should be. And just because it's brand spanking new doesn't mean that it's not going to have issues. And you have to know that pretty much everything that they're going to try selling you there, you can buy cheaper through a different lender. 1 second, my mom's calling. Alright guys, so that other video just kind of cut out a little spontaneously because, yeah, my mom called and I had to move the cars around so that everything would be okay. Because we only get whatever parking spaces we can fit in our driveway, which is right there, so it's about 3 cars. That area right there is where another car goes. And now, I can show you my beautiful car! Oh, ignore that car. My beautiful car! So, there she is. Her name is Ashley. And, yeah, this is pretty much as far as the vlog's gonna go. Sorry that it just kind of, you know, randomly stopped and then updated, and then here we are with me and my camera elsewhere now. Yeah. But yeah, so basically, if you're gonna go buy a car for the first time, the things that I would recommend the most is knowing what your budget is and how much you want to pay monthly, not disclosing that information to anyone that you talk to there, and then just also knowing that everything is negotiable. They might tell you that it's not, but realistically it is. But yeah, if you have any questions about it, just let me know. I have some other stories I guess I could talk about with this, of just like the car salesman that we were working with was kind of not informed with some things, like how long it would take to get the money from my bank to the car dealership. She was wrong in a good way. She was saying it would take 7 days. I took the car home the day that I signed everything. She was saying that it would be 7 days before I could take it home. So yeah, it's all dependent on the case that you're in, but yeah. Have any questions, ask me down below, leave a comment, say hi, I don't know. Have yourself a magical day, and I shall see you next time. Bye.